Do you know that you can avoid probate without a will or a trust? In fact, you probably know that a will requires probate. A will is a probate document. That's what they do. They prove in court what you wanted to do after you passed away. So many people are turning to a living trust in order to bypass probate and hand off their assets to their children or their heirs, free of all that hassle, all that money, and all that extra time through a living trust. But believe it or not, there's a way to save the money on a trust if you want to set up your estate in a different way. You know, as long as something has a direct beneficiary designation, it can pass directly to that heir or those heirs without the process of probate. Most people may not know, well, most people I find don't know that you can actually put a beneficiary on a bank account or on a brokerage account, even if it's not an IRA or an annuity or a life insurance product. Even a CD can have a pay on death designation, which escapes probate and makes that institution hand over that asset directly to that child or that heir that you decide is deserving or should have that asset. So again, designations, individual designations, proper beneficiary designations can avoid the probate process altogether. Now, what about your house or your real estate, you say? Well, in Arizona and a few other states, they have now come out with an idea or a solution to that problem, a tool, if you will. It's called a beneficiary deed. You can actually write a deed and record it in the courthouse in your state or in your county of your state where the property is held and say, hey, when I die, I want this property to be owned by my 3 children or my 4 nieces or whoever, or to a charity, for heaven's sakes. You can put a beneficiary on a deed to a property. You can put beneficiaries on almost every institutional type of an account and avoid probate altogether. Now, I will say, just because you can avoid probate altogether doesn't mean you should not have an estate plan. An estate plan is how to plan the direction or the legacy that you leave in your estate. Now, there's a thing called living probate that I don't want you to forget, and that is, what if you get sick? What if you can't pay your bills? What if you can't write checks? What if you can't make financial decisions because you're not able to? You don't have the cognitive ability to do that anymore. What if you go to a nursing home? What if you have somebody else that you're in such a situation that somebody else needs to make decisions based on your health care? We call that powers of attorney. We also may call that living probate. Instead of having to go to court to get conservatorship or permission to make decisions for your spouse or some other person, it's a good idea to not overlook powers of attorney, even a living will. If you get bad enough to be in a persistent vegetative state and don't want to stay on life support, it's good to have a living will, which is your directive to be pulled off of any type of life-sustaining machinery or support. In addition, there's another document that's important, or at least another paragraph that needs to be in those documents, and that is a HIPAA release. HIPAA is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Doesn't sound like much, but inside that act is a place which protects doctors or medical professionals from divulging any information about the person who's their patient, unless you've eliminated the liability or the responsibility from that doctor so that he can give you that information. In other words, if you don't have a HIPAA declaration, that doctor may not be able to tell you what's wrong with your husband or wife, so you can even help them make decisions that'll benefit them. So remember, even if you don't have a will or a trust and you decide to avoid probate through direct beneficiaries, make sure you have 4 important documents: power of attorney for healthcare, power of attorney for financial matters, living will, and HIPAA release documents. And that's my estate planning tip of the day. Have a great day.